I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Live here on Facebook, video number 2. We popped our cherry yesterday. So we've got the ground crew working in the main studio today, so I'm shooting from my mini studio where we do most of our post-production. And I do a tremendous amount of research daily. So, breaking news. The collapse of the Eurozone prediction that I've been talking about for over 7 years now has come true. It's true. It's true. The UK has just decided to leave the Eurozone. Now, what's amazing about this is that people think this is a giant victory. And it is. I don't want to take away from that at all. It's a victory. The UK is going to be better off. There's going to be short-term economic problems, but this is a good thing. Just like the Bank of Switzerland, their central bank, depegging from the euro. Things are a ton better. GDP growth is a ton better. Unemployment is a ton better. The country is a ton better. I want to welcome, I see people, new eyeballs joining this live stream. It's a ton better. But let's not kid ourselves and think that the New World Order elite doesn't have this all ironed out. Okay, this is a part of the agenda. And I talked about this in several videos that we aired this week, actually. And again, I'm one of the few people out there that has over 2,000 plus videos talking about and predicting the Eurozone collapse. That doesn't make me a crystal ball reader, but I just understand global finance, but more importantly, the agenda of these two-faced globalists. It's important to note that the Bilderberg meeting just occurred. You do realize that, right? People like Peter Thiel, the mafia boss of PayPal, who has sued, what was it, BuzzFeed or one of these internet-based companies here recently, was there. They were all there. And then all of a sudden, this dramatic moment in Brexit history occurs. So, again, a victory for the people. Okay, I don't want to take away from Independence Day necessarily, but the New World Order elite have this ironed out. Okay, this has already been pre-planned. It's exactly what I would do if I was sitting internally at the Bilderberg meetings. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be giant consequences. Might not happen today. It might not be a Black Friday today. But watch and learn, folks. Over the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, and next couple of months, there will be giant repercussions. You know, same thing when we had the Lehman moment. It was a shock. It took people by surprise, but it took several weeks and months later for the wheels really to come off. And the New World Order is going to use this as justification for an even bigger Eurozone bloc. They're going to call it something different. But the elites are going to come to save the day. So when I see videos from people that I respect, people like Alex Jones of InfoWars and others, and all they're doing right now is congratulating the people in independence.
Congratulations to the people of the United Kingdom. You have dealt a death blow against the authoritarian covert project for world government.
They honestly don't know what they're talking about because, again, it is a day to be happy. It is a day to congratulate. But let's not kid ourselves. This is a part of the pre-planned, engineered agenda. And the elites know exactly what they're doing. Now, George Soros surprised me because I thought he was bluffing a couple of days ago when he said that we could potentially have a Black Friday and that the UK currency could potentially collapse today, June 24th, 2016. I thought he was bluffing. So although the collapse of the Eurozone does not surprise me, and this is just the beginning, this is the tip of the iceberg, that's something that Alan Greenspan is correct about, I was surprised that they actually went this direction today. But again, it doesn't matter because the outcome's the same. This is like a broken marriage, you know, a couple fighting to hold on to a relationship that we know will terminate and only end in divorce. So again, everybody just focused on the congratulations concept of this, and the victory is missing the big picture. Those in control and those in power will be arguing for an even greater Eurozone. They're going to call it something different, but there's some kind of globalist agenda behind this. It's going to be bigger, badder than it was before. You see, they know that they've got to break up and fragment what hasn't really worked up to this point, create chaos, engineered chaos, and a catastrophe, something that George Soros is very good at, to argue for further integration so that the elites can come in and save the day. In fact, I've been putting out a series of tweets I encourage you to follow me on Twitter if you haven't already at AMTV Media. A couple of big announcements. Obviously, yesterday I announced that we'll be doing a new live show, which we're building right now around the clock and over the weekend. It's one of the reasons I'm sitting here in the other studio and not our main studios. We've got people working on that over the week, and so I'm very excited about that. And I had a couple of questions around. People are like, well, Christopher, what does this mean? You know, what happens if I don't sign on demand? Well, if you don't sign up for on demand, you're still going to get all of our content for free, but you're going to get it with ads. But I do encourage you, not just encourage, I ask that you support us on demand, because you get all of our content without ads. You get it first, and you're also supporting our platform. Notice I'm not doing some big money bomb or something. You know, I'm not asking for $1 million, like, oh, we need to raise, $250,000 for us to do this. No, I'm just doing it anyways. In fact, I'm self-financing it myself right now. And I think that's the right way to do it. But what I am asking is that you contribute, which is just the cost of a cup of coffee. You know, if you went out today and bought a cup of coffee, it's $4.95 a month. Someone told me yesterday it's the best $5 that they spend a month. Seriously, that's what people have been telling me in the comment section. Or $49.95 a year, you get a little bit of a discount. It supports our entire infrastructure and growing platform. And it helps me payroll. It helps me hire more and more people. I see we got a couple of comments here. So put your question or comment in the comment box and I will respond. Hey, Alberto Rodriguez, good to see you. Hello from Texas. I love your great state. In fact, I even considered moving there at one point a couple of years ago, but after visiting, actually looking at some real estate, it really made me appreciate Arizona. What a blessing of a state Arizona is. I would argue, for example, and again, Texas is a great state, one of my favorites. I've got a lot of good friends there. It's prettier. It's a much more beautiful state actually here, and it's kind of boutique. It's really special. So I probably shouldn't be selling Arizona so much because more and more people will move here, but Texas is definitely up there on my list, and would like to visit it more and more, because obviously I really appreciate, the liberty frame of mind. Hey, Mark. I see Mark, he says he's from Maryland. Well, I was in your neck of the woods quite a while ago, but when I was attending George Washington University on scholarship, not too far from you, which was an amazing experience where I kind of got to see Washingtonian criminal politics firsthand. So shout out to you, Mark. Welcome. Looks like we've got more and more people eyeballing me here on Facebook today. Welcome. So this Brexit has an agenda behind it. Something interesting that I predicted, and again, I don't think I'm a crystal ball reader, but I said yesterday in our video before the Brexit vote came in to leave that I thought David Cameron was finished. And sure enough, he just resigned. He resigned last month. So that was pretty crazy that just happened. Looking at the stock market today, and again, commentary on my Twitter feed last night was that we could potentially have a Black Friday, just like George Soros has said. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down roughly 500 points. Futures were pointing down last night at negative 665, one digit off 666. And we're pointing downwards as much as I think 700 points. So my take on this right now, just with my financial background, is actually the sell-off is quite orderly to start. But again, just like Lehman Brothers, the initial sell-off was a shock. It was orderly, but it resulted in collapse. And I think this is actually part of the agenda right now, to break up, fragment, and disintegrate the Eurozone so they can argue for even more power. See, that's what people don't get who are arguing for this, victory lap right now. That, it's just all about independence. It's the greatest thing in the world. Yes, it's great, but you've got to be kidding yourself if you don't think that there's an agenda behind this, and this has already been ironed out and pre-planned. As I mentioned in the beginning of this Facebook Live post video, it's not a coincidence that Bilderberg just met a couple of weeks ago, and now these events are unfolding right now. I wonder how much money George Soros just made. It's at least in the millions of dollars, because he had some kind of derivative trading around this, and of course he famously bet against the pound when it crashed. I believe it was in the early 1990s. I think it was 1991. It might have been 1992. So a tremendous amount of money has been made and lost today. But overall, it's looked pretty orderly today. But I expect, watch, and learn the repercussions here in the next few days, the next few weeks, and the next couple of months. One thing that the market does not like is uncertainty. So that's a really big deal. Hey Shane, how you doing? I also see Brian Whitwick. from Baco, if I'm pronouncing Baco correctly, California. I should say the People's Republic of Cali. Well, okay, so one thing that Donald Trump actually has right, and notice, I tweeted this yesterday night as well, that both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, the two, primary presidential candidates, were silent for several hours post the Brexit vote to leave. Why? Very good reason. Donald Trump's campaign, his political operatives, Donald Trump himself, as well as Hillary Clinton, were assessing the damage, how to respond to this in a political way. So Donald Trump has since come out. He's in Scotland, which I find kind of interesting. He was actually on his way there during and before this Brexit, vote to leave actually took place. And he's making reference to the fact that this could happen legitimately in the United States, for example, that we're quote unquote having our own Independence Day here in the USA. This is a boon to Donald Trump. This is a good thing, I think, in my humble opinion. When the wheels, and if the wheels continue to fall off in the U.S. economy and the stock market, and there's all this systemic risk present, notice gold is booming. One of the reasons why I recommend it, I've been recommending it for years. It was up as much as 8% last night on the shock, up as much as 6% last time I checked. And in fact, if we take a look right now, I'll just give you guys a live update since we're here, see what gold is doing. Gold is up about 4 or 5%. So a huge move. One of the reasons why I don't recommend fiat currency, the paper that you wipe your ass with and take a big shit on. And I recommend things like gold and other commodities, things that are actually tangible and real, is just for days like this, just for reasons like this, because of global uncertainty and a complete fragmentation and disintegration of what has become the failed experiment that makes up the Eurozone that's only lasted, 20 years or something like that. But this is engineered. So don't just take a victory lap. I'm sorry. Congratulations. I think we should all be happy that the people are waking up. There's this elevated consciousness. They're voting against globalism. That's fantastic. But the people are playing right into the globalist agenda. Okay, the globalists haven't given up their game plan. Okay, this is just another chess move in this intricate web. And that's something I mentioned, even people like Alex Jones, I'm watching and listening to their initial response, and I can't help but say, with all due respect, you're completely 100% wrong. This isn't just a congratulatory event. This is a part of the plan. And the people that are educated, that are enlightened, should know this all too well. Also, as a result of this, not only has the pound collapsed to a 30-year low based on the latest reports, last report that I had read, but people are flocking to the dollar. Not because the dollar is some kind of worthwhile investment, because it's the least dirty shirt in the basket of dirty shirts at the moment. Something Bill Gross has, talked about for years, who's now at Janus Investments. He used to be at PIMCO, somebody that I followed and respected a lot when I was in the financial services industry. So this is something also Jim Rogers, who's a cohort of George Soros, has talked about. We put a video up on that not too long ago. Said that the initial reaction would be strengthening dollar, even though it's counterintuitive, because people are going to move away from the pound with this uncertainty, and they're going to flock right to the dollar. So that's the initial move, but it's eventually going to result in devaluation and collapse. And again, take it from the guy that's put out 2,000 plus videos talking about this exact event. In fact, I will have our video editor try to recut this, and maybe we'll recirculate this on YouTube as well. I was watching a live stream that I did 4 years ago when we were still Greenwave, talking about this actual exact seminal moment and event. I also have an amazing article here as well. Several alternative media outlets are reporting 5-day bank holiday to prepare for the collapse of the euro. This is coming from the Financial Times. It says, while the global elite are still clinging to the hope that the euro single currency can survive a Greek exit that now looks inevitable, some members of the financial aristocracy have already given up on the entire Eurozone altogether. And in this article of the Financial Times, the title is, "We Must Break Up the Failing Euro." I encourage you to Google it, look it up. It's Financial friggin' Times. And there's other outlets reporting it on this as well. Former Bilderberg attendee Sir Martin Jacome, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, concedes that all efforts to rescue the euro have been in vain. Well, no shit, brother. Calling for all 17 members to decide at once to revert to national currencies. A Brexit a breakup. In fact, I thought it was pretty witty, at least. And if you follow me on Twitter, which I encourage you to do, AMTV Media, and please like us on Facebook if you haven't already, I thought it was pretty witty. I said something to the Avail here that the UK just used the pullout method on the Eurozone, because it really is kind of the equivalent of it. So the UK is better off. There's going to be short-term repercussions, trade negotiations that are going to have to be renegotiated. It's going to follow with, I think, more systemic risk in the market, similar to Lehman. Aftershocks, collapse, greater volatility in the U.S. stock market, commodities and currencies, etc. The real wheels falling off hasn't occurred yet. It's been pretty orderly so far. I'd like to go to some comments now, so put your question in the comment box on Facebook Live right now. I'll answer them real time, without a teleprompter, no bullshit coming from the gut. Of course, this is all real. And again, I'm very excited about our live broadcasts that we're setting up that should be rolling in the next couple of weeks. In fact, you'll start to see me on YouTube just pop on and off because we're going to be testing all this. We've got multi-camera shots. I'll be streaming also to Facebook at the same time, through social media, maybe a few other places. We're going to be distributing this shit all over the world because, as I said yesterday, we're going to war with the mainstream media, and I've had enough. You've demanded it. We're taking it to the next level. Please support us. Subscribe on demand right now. $4.95 a month, $49.95 a year. You can go to amtvmedia.com, click the on demand button, support us. If you can't support us, you can't afford $5, totally understand. We're still going to put it out for free, but it's going to be with ads. You get more content, you get it there first on demand, and it supports our infrastructure. So thank you for all of you that have already signed up. A lot of you came over yesterday, signed up, and have sent me personal emails saying, Christopher, love what you do. Thank you so much. Keep it hard hitting. Go for it. We support you. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you very much. It humbles me to hear that. And you've got my full commitment and utter loyalty, as I feel it's a duty to serve you in our community in going to war with the mainstream media and fighting these injustices, educating people to the truth, and educating people to the truth right now that this is not over. Okay, this Brexit and breakup is part of the plan. They're going to argue for further integration, more power, and destruction of borders and loss of sovereignty post this event. Mark my words. Nobody else is talking about it now. Not Alex Jones, not Glenn Beck, any of these guys. But watch them turn the corner in the next few days. It could be in the next few hours, because they're going to wake up to the hardcore reality. This isn't over, and the globalists know what they're doing. The New World Order power structure knows what they're doing. I'm going to go to some questions here. Someone said, make an AMTV app for phones. We've got one. We've already got one. In fact, we're in development on a more customized app right now. But if you go on demand, if you go to our website, amtvmedia.com, you click on the on-demand button and the FAQ, frequently asked questions, it'll tell you how to download the VHX app. That's what we're using right now to get all of our content there. It's called the VHX app. You can tune in on demand by subscribing, $4.95 a month, $49.95 a year, straight to your iPhone, straight to your iOS device, your Android device, your iPad, your laptop, your desktop, your Apple TV, your Amazon stick, whatever you got. We've already got it. Okay? So check that out. Our FAQ on amtvmedia.com. Jeff Reed says, F you all. Thanks, Jeff. That's cool. Yeah. F you all, bro. F you all. Jimmy Denton says, do you think Greece sees this as an opportunity to finally get out? Yes, of course. And that's what's happening. That's the domino effect, folks, is it starts with the UK and watch the rest of Europe burn straight to the ground. But again, a part of the agenda. Do not kid yourselves. The globalists know exactly what they're doing, and this is what people don't understand, and they're not talking about. So what I tweeted earlier as I'm coming into the studio, what I'm finding really surprising is all we're getting is congratulations. Congratulations and a victory lap, even from everybody, a lot of people that I respect within the quote-unquote alternative media. It's like, guys, are you thinking for yourself? Is there any critical thought here, or is it just one big congratulations circle jerk? Which is exactly what we're getting. Alex Jones and Mark Dyson, all these guys are just jacking off right now. And again, with all due respect, I like all these guys. I work with these guys. I think these guys are great, but they're just jerking each other off right now. I also noticed that Max Kaiser got the whole Brexit totally wrong. And again, I give kudos to Max Kaiser on a lot of stuff. Respect him. He does a great job, over at RT. Like his work. Again, he's a great guy. But he was tweeting yesterday that no way in hell there was going to be a breakup, and you've got to be kidding yourself if you think, people are going to go off the dole of the Eurozone for the Brexit to actually occur. So he was actually 110% wrong, and we all get things wrong, including myself. And things surprise me from time to time. But I'm just pointing it out because we should all be held accountable. And I don't think predictions are necessarily what's important. Educating to what the big picture is, seeing the forest through the trees, is actually the most important thing. See, we've got even more and more people showing up and more comments here, which is pretty dope. Will stocks rebound Monday? No, in fact, I think things could potentially even get worse on Monday. I think that's the risk, is that Monday could be a catastrophic event potentially. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what people don't understand is, again, today's sell-off is pretty orderly, but this is the equivalent of another Lehman moment where the markets don't like uncertainty, and the expectations, in my opinion, things will only get worse. Nate James says, I run pages and the millions of followers, and I'm not celebrating. Well, Nate, you sound smart, man. You sound like you're an intellectual, you're somebody thinking for yourself, you're not just jumping on the Brexit bandwagon and circle jerking all of your friends, which is all I see on Twitter, all I see on YouTube. It's all I see even from our supposed own community is one big circle jerk congratulatory fest. And I see no critical thought, nobody asking questions that this has been a part of the agenda or even understanding that from the get-go. Martin Tremblay says, do you think the Federal Reserve will raise the rates on July or even this year, given the current conditions of the Brexit? You've got to be kidding me. It's an excellent question. All questions are good questions, but hell no. No way are rates going to be raised. In fact, I think they go negative. Janet Whore Yellen is going to bleed you dry. In fact, I put out a text to some friends and family earlier this morning with just that note. Watch and learn, boys. Janet Whore Yellen's going to bleed you to death. And it's exactly why more and more pensions are going to fail. Those of you that maybe are on, government payroll here in the United States or abroad, it's one of the reasons they're failing, because rates are at zero and they're negative in Europe and places like Japan. If you can't get a rate of return on your investment, the whole financial model of modern finance and pensions and all these kinds of things, retirement plans, fail, because there is no return on investment. So no way. I mean, it's been, we're 7-8 years into this circle jerk that makes up the artificial quantitative easing, Janet Whore Yellen, fake bullshit recovery. No way she's going to increase rates. They're going to lower them. Even though rates have been bumped, 25 basis points, real rates have actually declined as a result of inflation. The dollar in your pocket's worth less than it was before through rising inflation and food prices and housing and rents, anything, that you need to survive. All those prices are going up artificially. So actually, even with the 25 bip hike, which they might start cutting, that's actually what I think is going to happen. Cutting to zero, we're already essentially at zero, but cutting into negative territory, as which has been mirrored in Europe, which is why this is so freaking dangerous. Think about it. What can the Eurozone do now with the Brexit to stimulate growth? Rates are already freaking negative. There's nothing they can do. The last bullet has been fired, which is exactly why the elites know this. They have no room to run and hide. They've allowed this Brexit to happen. And again, they've allowed it. It's not the people that, again, I don't want to take away the congratulatory moment. The elites have allowed this event, not the other way around. Let's be very truthful about this and think critically. It's not like George Soros and these people have given up. They're like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. They're like, oh, we've given up now. Yeah, the people have won. You've got to be freaking joking me. And it's why all these people that I'm, listening to, a lot of them I respect, again, are completely 110% wrong on this. Watch them turn the corner in the next couple of days and months. They'll be jumping on my bandwagon soon enough, and they should be smarter than this. Ryan James Toff, I don't think Alex is a disinfo agent. This guy isn't either. I think these guys are awesome, and this guy is awesome, and sheepdog patriots as well. I don't think Alex Jones is a disinfo agent. I'm not a disinfo agent. But here's the real truth. You don't know that for sure. I ask you to think for yourself. I could be a disinfo agent. I could be working for the CIA. Think for yourself. I'm not. I'm just a regular guy. Alex Jones, I really believe, a regular guy. But you don't know that. Think for yourself. Think critically. That's something I ask all of you to do out there. Jimmy Emmy Garon, if I'm saying that right, I'm probably really screwing up. The Vatican controls the world. Yeah, there's some truth to that. We got another comment here. What about a completely new political system? Because there is no hope with the actual one. Fantastic question, and it leads me into the next part of this equation. That's exactly what they're going to deliver. You realize the Eurozone breakup is engineered. They're going to deliver a new convenient political system, and they're going to save the day. That's exactly what this is all about. I talked about it in our video where people said I was fear-mongering, and it turned out to be the absolute truth, and we basically hit the predictions, with the nail right on the head. Brexit to collapse, Eurozone warning, put out a day before the vote. Brexit and U.S. sovereign default, put out June 15th, several days before the vote. And I even went back this morning as I was taking a shit, quite literally, and found a video I put out in 2014 among a dozen others around the same time period talking about just that. Mark says exactly, why did he give us a vote on this if it was going to be so bad? Well, again, this is the agenda. They want this to happen. If they didn't want it to happen, they just would have rigged the vote the other day. Or the other way, excuse me. I mean, just like with George W. Bush. You remember George W. Bush, the warmonger that he is, get into Iraq and Afghanistan, post-September 11th, even though that was a false flag event, and the Al Gore, where he edged him out, even though Al Gore got the popular vote. You see, they can do whatever they want. The people's vote doesn't count. Again, anyone on the circle jerk congratulatory bandwagon right now should be congratulated. It's great for independence. It's good for the UK. I can certainly appreciate that. I don't want to take people's happiness away from them, but it's a part of the agenda because the New World Order allowed this Brexit to happen. Do you think that there could be a revote? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think things could get so bad, that's exactly what they might do. And I even tweeted at AMTV Media, follow me if you haven't already, that I actually think that that might be the case. That this isn't over yet, is what I said. Leia says, LOL. LOL. Mark says, what do you think about the New World Order? Well, I could go on probably for 7 days straight, and I'd have to put a hammock up here to really answer that question. So we'll kind of just get into a little bit of that. Perceptions, deceptions. That's right. Perception is your reality. This is the reality they want you to believe. It's exactly why George Soros wanted, and he caught me by surprise. I thought he was bluffing. He put out a supposed bluff, which turned out to be the truth because it was engineered to swing the Brexit vote to leave. Amandeep Singh says, I will just turn up quite a lot and good for yourself. Hey, what's up? Masoon Khan, when do we get to purge? It's kind of like that movie, The Purge. I saw the first one randomly. It was pretty bad where, for the day, there's like all this murder and blood in the streets and it's total chaos and destruction and economic collapse. Well, I hope that that day doesn't come. I do think that as a byproduct of this, and it's already begun, world war is here. I think that that is a reality. We're already experiencing economic warfare. Keep in mind that China has its eye on this right now. So does Vladimir Putin of Russia. They're just watching right now. They're probably, having a little caviar and, maybe smoking a big fat stogie or something. But our enemies are watching and playing right into what's going on in Europe right now and growing instability and again an engineered collapse which is happening for a reason. A question from MD says, good time to buy physical gold? Absolutely. I've been recommending gold for over 7 years now for exactly these types of events. Now we've had a pretty big move. It's always good to buy gold. You try to dollar cost average, over the period of the long term and then just hold, in my opinion, forever. There's no reason to sell, but absolutely. This is why some of the, most elite hedge fund managers in the world, some of the most brilliant investors, all the way down to regular Joes like me, own gold, own silver because it's real, it's tangible, it's not fiat, and it protects against this inflationary, depressionary risk, which is exactly what I think is coming. In fact, I went to the doctor yesterday. I was talking to a friend of mine. He happens to be a cardiologist, and I think he was more interested in talking about AMTV and politics than he was, talking about my physical that I just do every year, just for sport, because I think it's a good thing to do. But again, if the dollar in your pocket is worth less now than it was yesterday, that's a silent tax. So maybe the stock market doesn't collapse like 2008. Maybe there's not a 50% trough that we experience. But if there's inflation and they could basically achieve the same results through the silent tax of destroying the dollar. So I agree with Jim Rogers when he says, and this was his prediction, which is exactly what's happening now, and even George Soros's bluff, that the initial reaction would be the pound collapsing, which is just it. It's a 30 to 31 year low. And there would be initial gut reaction to the dollar, even though that's counterintuitive to start. Strengthening dollar followed by an eventual devaluation and collapse of the currency, and total global disorder is a byproduct of the new global order. And again, they're going to call it something different. It's going to be even stronger, bigger, bolder, badder than it was before. The Eurozone was just the tip of the iceberg, something Alan Greenspan was right about, to what's really coming down the pike. Ray Salazar says, is the Brexit part of a bigger move by the elites? Are they trying to prove something, or is this legitimate democracy in Great Britain? I think there's a little bit of legitimate democracy here, and that should be congratulated. That is very hopeful. That is amazing. The people truly have power. But this is a part of a bigger move, 110%, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. It is a part of the elitist agenda to break up temporarily the Eurozone, to then institute more chaos, an engineered collapse, more problems, similar a la to what we experienced in 2008, 2009 with the collapse of Lehman Brothers, followed by a new push for what the ultimate real agenda was behind the scenes, further integration, further world disorder. Masoon Khan says, should we be learning Mandarin? Well, probably. Yeah, to be honest with you. In fact, Jim Rogers, the famous commodity investor who started the Quantum Fund, I believe it was, with George Soros and worked directly with him, that's exactly what he has his kids doing. He lives in Singapore, and they're learning various different languages to compete with this new economy, which is being completely taken over by robots, the algorithm, and more people are losing their jobs. And even among my friends and family, general acquaintances, I'm seeing the structural shift happen right now. This is just a part of the new reality, unfortunately. Doesn't mean that there's not optimism in a lot of this, that there's not opportunity in this, but if you're hanging on to the old corporate 1950s model of 9 to 5, get a pension, sit in a queue, be taken care of the corporate elite, you're finished. That's over. Massive wealth redistribution, people like Bill Gates making over $20-30 million a day, worth an estimated, I think it's 60-70 billion dollars or something like that. One of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest guys on the planet. It's more about wealth redistribution and chaos than it is, I guess that's the most profound part of this change. Chrissy Blue Lamb says, cool, I'd love to learn Mandarin. Joseph Taylor says, what kind of investing do you do? Gold, silver, stocks, real estate. Well, I actually have a really important video on this. I encourage you to watch. You get this, not aired on YouTube, as a part of your on-demand subscription. If you check it out at AMTV On Demand, in fact, I'll just go find the actual video that I have for you guys here so I can get the title correctly. But I talk about asset allocation. I don't think it's about just investing in one specific sector or one specific stock, or just gold for that matter. But I believe in diversification and asset allocation. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and it protects against all of this risk, no matter what happens. Because the truth to the reality is nobody can predict the next event, or like today, for example, the vote to be to leave, and nobody can predict when, how this instability, the timing of it, will unfold. We know it's going to unfold, but we don't know the timing of it. So I really believe in asset allocation. Fundamentally, is kind of my number one rule of thumb when it comes to investing, which means I'm spread out. I'm not just concentrated in one thing. The video on that, it's part of my Mastery series with Christopher Green. That's me. You're tuning into right now. Which I think is kind of a departure of some of my usual topics, but it's extremely valuable. In fact, I even provide an actual, I think it was an Excel spreadsheet we put into PDF showing you a model allocation. So I'm not just like telling you, loosely what these things mean. I'm giving you actually specific numbers on all this. So I'm looking at it right now. It's called Asset Allocation, How to Get and Stay Wealthy. So it's basically a blueprint. I think if I remember correctly, the video is about 20-30 minutes long. It's a great part of kind of an introductory series that explains just that. So subscribe on demand. Not only do you get the live show, no commercials, you get all of our content first. You'll actually get a 20-30 minute video followed by half a dozen other videos on that same topic, which I'm continuing to put out. And I'm also kind of delving into other topics too you don't always get. on AM TV that, are sometimes not political, that might just be about, life and, increasing our awareness and consciousness around us. I'm a big believer in, reaching our full potential and, fulfilling, following your own passion and fulfilling your own happiness and all of these things. And I'm a huge positive thinker, and I'm an entrepreneur on top of that, and somebody who's extremely optimistic. I think that is kind of what people underestimate about me sometimes and don't really understand, is how optimistic I am. I'm not a doomsdayer in any regard as some people would want to paint me at all. In fact, if you really know me as a friend or somebody that, I go out and take you a cup of coffee, I'm probably the most upbeat, optimistic person on the freaking planet. But I'm also a realist, and I cut through the bullshit. When I see the world for what it is, and I see all the problems, and I see all the chaos, and I see all the criminality, and I see the bullshit mainstream brainwashing media, and I see the bankster elites bending over Americans and butt raping all of us, I point it out. I'm not somebody that's going to let things go. I ask the question why, and I attack. That's what I naturally do. It's why we're at war. Again, people that I greatly respect, like Andrew Breitbart, who, God rest his soul, rest in peace, and people like Michael Hastings. I mean, they were pretty much on the knife's edge of this, several years ago. And they're, people to be tremendously respected, those that stand up. And for those of you that stand up for the truth, should be tremendously respected. You should be proud of yourself. And, a lot of you guys thank me all the time. But honestly, I want to thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for sharing our content, getting out there, standing up for what you believe in. It is not easy, but there's something I want you to do. I want you to take this out into the real world, not just digitally. Yes, the digital revolution is a weapon. It's how AMTV's blown up over the years. Through the power of that sharing network, distribution is now a commodity. But you need to take this out into the physical world. And big plans this year. Not only are we going live, I'm going to start traveling the United States of America. We'll be speaking, seminars, engagements, panelists on the ground. It's going to be incredible. So I really need your guys' support. And it's one of the reasons I asked you to support us on demand, because that's what's helping fund this, which has been all self-financed by me through the power of God. And it's been a very humble experience to be here. And that's how I serve you. And I help to serve this message, and we take it out into the real world. So take it out into the physical world. Do that right now if you're not already. Share it at the dinner table, your church, your local communities, people that you're talking to, Toastmasters, your business, your friends, your family. Share the message physically. Get it out into the real world. Strengthen your local communities. The government does not want you to be strong locally. They want you to be fragmented. They want you to be destroyed. It's why they've destroyed the nuclear family relationship. It's why most households, 2 people have to work, because most can't afford the paradigm that they've created for us, where a mother can stay home and be a strong woman, take care of her family. And, people want to get into all kind of, gender equations here and stuff. But there's a reason why sometimes it's the men that stay home. Whoever doesn't matter. But they want to destroy that family. They want to destroy that local community. Aaron Flores has come out to Salt Lake City. Love to. In fact, I got some family friends out in Park City. I love skiing out there. It's amazing. I'd love to. Salt Lake City would be an amazing place to go. And we're going to start locally here in Arizona, so you guys can get out here. I think California is another very likely prospect. Easy to get there. A lot of people can meet us there. Las Vegas. Definitely consider Salt Lake City. I'm also even thinking Honolulu out in Hawaii. I think would be fun to do in the summers. That would be another crazy fun place to go. Also Vancouver, Canada. I want to hit up Canada as well, and maybe hit Toronto and some other places. I think it would just be fantastic. So get ready. Hold on to your hats. It's going to be amazing. Josh Alman, what will you do with your gold if the U.S. starts a draft and shuts down borders if there's a wall? Not like you can get out anywhere easier than you can get in. Well, kind of I guess part answer to that question is that, during gold confiscation, which is always a possibility, a lot of people, a friend of mine, remember telling me this with his own family, they buried their gold. They would throw it into a lake or something like that, or they would bury it in the ground, and then it was dug up later. Remember, these are physical assets. So in a worst case scenario, you probably find that. A lot of people might hide what they have. Ahmad, if I'm saying that correctly, Mobin. Hey, Chris, this is bad news for Syria. Well, it's been bad news for Syria for a long time. I mean, Obama keeps bombing the shit out of Syria, right? There's over 500,000 people dead as a result of more drone strikes than what George W. Bush had ever instituted in this part of the world, something that people, just skate past those facts on a daily basis. So yes, this is very bad for Syria, but the destabilization has been a part of this political agenda for some time now. It's the same reason, again, I've talked about ad nauseum. We've had this mass immigration, and it's resulted in the people speaking out, even in a Brexit today, because they're tired of it. And there is some real, truthful democracy that should be congratulated right now actually occurring. So yes, it is very, very bad news. So digesting this Brexit, digesting what I think is going to happen over the next few weeks, the next few days, the coming months, I think this is a seminal moment in the history of Europe, a seminal moment in the history of the United States. We are similarly experiencing the same kind of politics right now, which are very divisive politics for a reason, because people are pissed off and they're angry with, of course, Hillary Rodham Clinton and Donald Trump battling this out. But again, I've been upfront about this, even as a supporter of Donald Trump. One thing I do not like about him is that he wants more surveillance. He needs more surveillance, and it's not just to surveil the mosques. They want to surveil all of you while you're making love to your wife and taking a shit on the pot. They want more power. They want you to give up that control, give up that sovereignty. And this is what people like Edward Snowden, double, triple agents in my opinion, although there's truth to it, have been warning about. And it's a very serious problem. And we've become the police state that was really only a science fiction novel years and years ago, but is now our absolute reality. Hi, Cassie. Great to see you here. I see you just joined our comment section as well. Thank you so much. So let's take a look here around the world. Let's see what's actually going on. So again, huge fallout from the Brexit. I'm reading a headline that says, "You're welcome in Londonistan. City wants out of UK." Who's next? Who falls out next? Again, there's a domino effect here. This is a complete dissolution and fragmentation of this failed experiment. MD says, do you think SDRs can replace the dollar like James Rickards mentions? And do you think it will be backed by percentage of gold to give confidence? Well, I think the global currency relationship is changing, right? There's been the establishment of a competitor bank known as the AIIB, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, which is a direct competitor to the old loan shark, which made up Western dominance in the name of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. China has now been acknowledged as a global reserve currency, something we've also talked about for years, and people told me that I was, a crackpot. But again, everything we've talked about just keeps coming true, right? So China has already been acknowledged, the yuan, the renminbi, as world reserve, as a part of this SDR basket. So really what's happening is we're losing power. Western nations, Europeans are losing power. We are ceding power to the rising dragon that makes up China, Russia, and these very powerful countries. So we basically wet the bed. We basically shit ourselves over the years, all over the bed, and it's a disaster, and we're trying to clean it up. In the meantime, Putin, his people, China, all these guys, they've got clean, pristine silk sheets. Okay, so that's what's happening now, and it's one of the reasons why war is a natural byproduct of this, because the only way they reset this shit show that makes up an artificial reality of 0% interest rates and the scam that makes up the national debt doubling under the Obama administration is through murder, war, destruction, and great instability. So that's where we are today. America no longer is the powerful nation. It's really sad. I don't like saying that, but it's true. We are no longer the great, powerful, economic, dominant nation that we once were. We are a laughingstock. We are a politically correct shit show, and it's one of the reasons why we've been virtually destroyed and overtaken by a Manchurian radical leftist candidate over the last 2 terms. I'm seeing more and more people join us. Thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends right now. In fact, you send it out to Twitter or Facebook or share, let them know that Christopher Green is live, AMTV is live. You can ask me anything. It's kind of like our own virtual AMA. It's pretty cool. I see more and more people here. Will says New World Order. Leia says that it smells bad too with the cried face. Yes, shitting yourself and shitting the bed smells really, really bad. So this is very serious. And again, I'm going to keep all of you updated on current events. Thank you for your tremendous support. Please subscribe. Again, I'm very excited about our live broadcast to be airing in the next couple of weeks. We're setting this up rapidly, as fast as we can, working around the clock. My team and crew, we've been coming in this weekend. I mean, really 24/7 to get this set up. We're going to be streaming multiple cameras at once, YouTube, Facebook, probably a few other different locations, and on demand. You get it all first. Yeah, you support this amazing growing infrastructure. And we really do need your support. And again, let me emphasize, notice I'm not doing a money bomb like we've seen, some of these people do. I'm not asking for $1 million. No, I'm self-financing all of this. But I do need your support, and I'm asking for your support and your donation. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can subscribe and support us monthly. And you can help what we do. So, thank you for everybody that's already been doing that. How do you get your stream? Well, the stream will be hitting YouTube when we start airing it. So that'll be just coming out. Okay, and I'm going to schedule a time around it. Tuesdays and Thursdays to start. I'm going to start with 2 days a week because there's a lot of pre and post production that we have to do. And I've got to hire more people to support this. If we get enough support, and you guys really like what we're doing, which is exactly what I want to do, then we'll consider expanding it to multiple times a week. We could be going 4 or 5 days a week at that point. So you get it on YouTube, you'll get it on AMTV On Demand. Everything hits there first. We're working with their live stream technology right now as well. But YouTube, Facebook, I might even start broadcasting at places like Periscope, maybe even at another location. Basically, we're going to be distributing everywhere. So we'll set a day, 2 days a week, and a time. I'm thinking Tuesday, Thursdays, probably at 1 o'clock Arizona time. So you have to look at from like 1 to 2 to start. We'll start broadcasting 1 hour, and then we'll expand. I've done up to 2 hours, if not longer than that before, but we've got to start somewhere to get it going. So I'll keep all of you updated on the specific schedule, how to tune in, when we're airing, as soon as we get that up. But you will notice me starting to pop up on a regular basis over the next couple of days, just like I'm doing now, because we're experimenting with all this technology so we can integrate it, into the AMTV model. I answer a couple more questions before we go today, so I get back to some of our other production, and then of course, work on our next video. Aaron Flores says, "Hire me. I'll drop out of college." Well, we do need a lot of help, so believe me, I'll consider it. I need good people. One of the challenges is a lot of the millennials I'm finding, even that we've interviewed and been interviewing, are all on the left side. They really aren't engaged in the libertarian mindset. So it's one of the things that I found pretty challenging. Cassie says, "Yes, keep speaking the truth." Will do. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Christopher Green. Thank you for your support. I'll keep you posted on our live broadcast. Thank you for asking all these amazing questions today. I'm having a ton of fun with this, and I think that's really cool. One thing for me as somebody who's broadcasting, it's important that we have fun with what we're doing, and that we're actually having as much of an impact as possible as we go to war with a real evil situation, and a power structure that has a full-blown agenda behind not just the Brexit, but this full globalist New World Order agenda to control, own everyone, to give up sovereignty, our liberty and freedom, not just here in the United States, but globally. So stay tuned. Again, don't just circle jerk yourself right now on this Brexit. It's not just a congratulatory moment. There's a lot more seriousness to this, and there is a master game plan behind this. Be assured of that. Watch even those in the quote unquote community jump onto this bandwagon, what I'm telling you right now, and you've heard it here first on AMTV, in the next coming days and coming weeks. I'm out of here. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching AMTV Live, hard hitting it in your face. And as always, thank you for your support. Sign up on demand if you haven't already. Do it at amtvmedia.com. Peace.